Some mistakes killed millions. Some collapsed empires. And some were so dumb they're almost funny. But all of them changed history forever. One wrong turn, one missed opportunity, one catastrophic decision. Throughout history, the fate of nations, empires, and millions of lives has hinged on moments of pure human error. Mistakes so epic, they literally changed the course of civilization. These aren't just embarrassing blunders. These are world-altering catastrophes that redrew maps, toppled empires, and killed millions. Some were caused by arrogance, others by stupidity, and a few, just incredibly bad luck. Today, we're counting down 36 of the most insane historical mistakes that prove humanity's greatest enemy has always been ourselves. Let's dive in. Number 1. The Trojan horse nobody questioned. Ancient Troy was under siege for 10 years. The Greeks couldn't break through. Then one morning, they were gone, leaving behind a giant wooden horse. The Trojans found it outside their gates with a note, a gift to the gods. Despite warnings from Cassandra and Laocoon, they dragged it inside the city walls to celebrate their victory. That night, Greek soldiers hiding inside opened the gates. Troy burned. The entire civilization was destroyed in one night. The lesson: if your enemy leaves you a giant wooden horse, maybe don't bring it inside your city. Just a thought. Number 2. Napoleon invading Russia in winter. In 1812, Napoleon had conquered most of Europe. Russia was next. He marched in with 600,000 soldiers, the largest army ever assembled. His plan? Quick victory before winter. But Russia retreated, burning everything in their path. No food, no shelter. Then winter came early. The result? Napoleon limped back with 10,000 survivors. His empire collapsed within 2 years. Hitler would make the exact same mistake 130 years later. The irony: the greatest military mind in history lost to snow. Number 3. The Titanic's unsinkable ship. White Star Line built the largest, most luxurious ship ever. They called it unsinkable, so they only put 20 lifeboats on board. Enough for half the passengers. On its maiden voyage in 1912, it hit an iceberg. The crew ignored 6 ice warnings that night because they were racing for a speed record. The death toll? 500 people. The ship sank in 2 hours. 2/3 of passengers had no lifeboat. The punchline? Calling something unsinkable is basically asking fate to prove you wrong. Number 4. Decca Records rejecting the Beatles. In 1962, the Beatles auditioned for Decca Records. They played 15 songs. The executive's response? Guitar groups are on the way out. The Beatles have no future in show business. Decca signed Brian Poole and the Tremolos instead. You've never heard of them, right? Exactly. The outcome? The Beatles became the best-selling band in history. Decca lost billions. That executive's decision is now taught in business schools as the worst mistake in music history. The lesson? Sometimes the experts are spectacularly wrong. Number 5. NASA's Mars Climate Orbiter in 1999. NASA sent a $125 million spacecraft to Mars. It took 9 months to get there. Then it crashed. The reason? One team used metric units. Another used Imperial. Nobody checked. The orbiter came in too low and burned up in Mars's atmosphere. The cost? $125 million and years of research. Destroyed because someone forgot to convert feet to meters. The moral? The most expensive math error in human history. Maybe just pick one measurement system, NASA. Number 6. Blockbuster refusing to buy Netflix. In 2000, Blockbuster was worth $5 billion. Netflix was a struggling DVD by mail service losing money. Netflix offered to sell for $50 million. Blockbuster's CEO laughed them out of the room. He thought streaming was a joke. He doubled down on late fees and physical stores instead. 10 years later, Netflix was worth $13 billion. Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. Now they have one store left as a tourist attraction. The punchline? That $50 million rejection cost them everything. Number 7. Japan bombing Pearl Harbor, December 7, 1941. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor to cripple America's Pacific Fleet. They thought it would intimidate the U.S. into staying neutral. They sank ships and killed 2,400 Americans. Mission accomplished, right? Wrong. The attack united America overnight. Before Pearl Harbor, most Americans opposed entering Watu. The outcome? America declared war, mobilized its industrial might, and dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. The war was over in 4 years. The lesson? Waking up a sleeping giant is generally a bad strategy. Number 8. The assassination that started June 28, 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand survived a bombing in Sarajevo. His motorcade took a wrong turn afterward, right past Gavrilo Princip, who'd given up and stopped for a sandwich. Princip saw the Archduke's car stopped in front of him. He pulled out his gun and fired twice. Franz Ferdinand and his wife died within minutes. The result? Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia. Alliances activated. Within a month, the entire world was at war. 17 million people died. The absurdity? The deadliest war in history started because someone took a wrong turn. Number 9. Xerox inventing, then ignoring the PC. In the 1970s, Xerox's research lab invented the graphical user interface, the computer mouse, Ethernet, and laser printing. Basically, they invented the modern computer, but Xerox executives only cared about photocopiers. They thought computers were a distraction, so they did nothing with it. What happened next? Steve Jobs visited Xerox in 1979, saw their tech, and borrowed everything for Apple. Bill Gates did the same for Microsoft. The cost? Xerox could have been Apple and Microsoft combined. Instead, they make printers. Number 10. The Maginot Line Trap. After WWI, France built the Maginot Line, an impenetrable border fortress along Germany. It cost billions and took a decade to build. In 1940, Germany invaded. But instead of attacking the line, they just went around it, through Belgium. Like it wasn't even there. France fell in 6 weeks. The world's greatest defensive system was useless because someone forgot that armies can just walk around things. The irony? They spent billions to build a wall the enemy never touched. Number 11. China burning their treasure fleet. In the 1400s, China had the world's greatest navy, ships 5 times bigger than Columbus's. Admiral Zheng Hu sailed to Africa, Arabia, and Southeast Asia decades before Europeans. Then, in 1433, the new emperor decided exploration was wasteful. He burned the entire fleet and banned ocean travel. China isolated itself for 400 years. The result? While China stagnated, Europe colonized the world. China went from global superpower to victim of European imperialism. The lesson? Isolationism has consequences. Burning your ships definitely has consequences. Number 12. The Y2K bug that almost wasn't fixed. In the 1960s-80s, programmers used 2 digits for years to save memory, 99 instead of 1999. Nobody thought about what would happen in the year 2000. By the late 1990s, experts warned computers would think 2000 was 1900. Banks, hospitals, power grids, everything could crash simultaneously. The panic? Governments spent $300 billion fixing code. People stockpiled food. Some predicted civilization's collapse. What actually happened? Almost nothing because we fixed it. But if we hadn't? Catastrophe. Number 13. Rome hiring barbarians to guard borders. In the late Roman Empire, they couldn't recruit enough soldiers. So they hired Germanic barbarians to guard their borders. They armed them, trained them, and paid them, then treated them like second-class citizens. The barbarians learned Roman military tactics while building resentment. The outcome? In 476 AD, those same barbarians sacked Rome and ended the Western Roman Empire. The moral? Maybe don't teach your enemies how to destroy you, then give them a reason to do it. Number 14. Thomas Edison electrocuting an elephant. In the 1900s, Edison was losing the war of currents to Nikola Tesla's AC power. So Edison tried to prove AC was dangerous by publicly electrocuting animals. In 1903, he electrocuted Topsy the elephant at Coney Island with 1/500 spectators watching. He filmed it and distributed the footage as propaganda. The result? Everyone thought Edison was a monster. Tesla won anyway. AC became the standard, and Edison's reputation never recovered. The lesson? When you electrocute an elephant to win an argument, you've already lost. Number 15. The Library of Alexandria burning. The ancient Library of Alexandria held humanity's knowledge, hundreds of thousands of scrolls from across the known world. It was irreplaceable, then it burned. We don't even know when or how. Maybe Caesar's fire in 48 BC, maybe later. But it's gone. What was lost? Complete works of Sophocles, Euripides, and countless others. Mathematical discoveries. Historical records. Scientific knowledge that took centuries to rediscover. The tragedy? We'll never know how much further humanity could have advanced without this loss. Number 16. King John signing the Magna Carta, then ignoring it. In 1215, English barons forced King John to sign the Magna Carta, limiting royal power and establishing rights. John signed it, then immediately asked the Pope to annul it. The Pope agreed. John declared the whole thing void and went back to being a tyrant. The outcome? Civil war. John died a year later. His son reissued the Magna Carta, which became the foundation of constitutional law. The irony? John's attempt to undo it made it stronger. His biggest failure became his greatest legacy. Number 17. Kodak inventing, then burying digital photography. In 1975, Kodak engineer Steve Sasson invented the digital camera. It worked. It was revolutionary. Kodak executives saw it and said, "Why would anyone want to view their pictures on a screen?" They shelved it to protect film sales. 2 decades later, digital cameras destroyed Kodak's film business. Competitors dominated the market Kodak invented. Kodak filed for bankruptcy in 2012. The punchline? They invented the technology that killed them, then helped competitors kill them with it. Number 18. The Spanish Armada's invincible fleet. In 1588, Spain sent 130 ships to invade England. They called it the Invincible Armada. Big mistake. Never named something invincible. The English Navy was smaller but faster. They used fire ships and cannons to scatter the Spanish. Then a massive storm, the Protestant wind, destroyed half the Armada. The outcome? Only 67 ships returned to Spain. England remained independent. Spain's empire began its decline. The lesson? Invincible is the universe's way of saying, watch this. Number 19. NASA's Apollo 1 fire. In 1967, NASA was racing to the moon. Apollo 1 was the first manned test. During a ground test, a spark ignited in the pure oxygen cabin. The astronauts tried to open the hatch, but it opened inward and was sealed by pressure. The fire spread in seconds. All 3 astronauts died. The cause? A known design flaw NASA ignored to meet deadlines. The disaster grounded the program for 21 months. The legacy? NASA learned. Future missions succeeded. But 3 men died for lessons that should have been obvious. Number 20. Hitler declaring war on the United States. After Pearl Harbor, Japan was at war with America. Hitler had no obligation to join. America wasn't even fighting Germany yet in December 1941, but Hitler declared war on America anyway, 4 days after Pearl Harbor. Nobody asked him to. He just did it. The result? America joined the European War. D-Day happened. Germany fought a two-front war. Hitler's empire collapsed. The stupidity? Germany's defeat became inevitable the moment Hitler volunteered to fight America. Number 21. The Chernobyl Safety Test. In 1986, Soviet engineers planned a safety test at Chernobyl nuclear plant. They wanted to see if the reactor could handle a power failure. To run the test, they disabled safety systems. Then the reactor became unstable. Instead of stopping, they continued the test. The result? The reactor exploded. 50 tons of radioactive material released. The surrounding area is uninhabitable for 20,000 years. The irony? A safety test caused one of history's worst disasters, and they could have stopped it at multiple points. Number 22. The Challenger Disaster and Ignored Engineers. January 28, 1986. NASA was launching Space Shuttle Challenger despite freezing temperatures. Engineers warned that O-rings would fail in cold weather. They begged NASA to delay. NASA ignored them. The launch had already been postponed 6 times. The seconds after launch, Challenger exploded. All 7 astronauts died on live television. Millions of school children watched. The cause? Exactly what engineers warned about. The O-rings failed. Number 23. The Qin Emperor's Quest for Immortality. China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, was obsessed with living forever. His doctors prescribed mercury pills, pure poison. He took them for years. His health deteriorated. He became paranoid and unstable. But he kept taking the immortality pills. He died at 49, probably from mercury poisoning, the very thing meant to make him immortal. The irony? His quest for eternal life killed him, and he might have lived longer without the cure. Number 24. Coca-Cola's New Coke. In 1985, Coca-Cola changed their 99-year-old recipe. They called it New Coke and insisted it tasted better. America rioted. People stockpiled old Coke. Some compared it to trampling the American flag. The backlash was instant and furious. Days later, Coca-Cola brought back the old formula as Coca-Cola Classic. New Coke disappeared. The lesson? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, especially if it's been working for a century. Number 25. The Bay of Pigs invasion. In 1961, the CIA trained Cuban exiles to overthrow Castro. They landed at the Bay of Pigs with promises of U.S. air support. The air support never came. Kennedy canceled it at the last minute. The exiles were trapped on the beach with no backup. The outcome? 400 exiles captured within 3 days. Castro's regime strengthened. Cuba moved closer to the Soviet Union. This led directly to the Cuban Missile Crisis. The failure? A half-committed invasion that made everything worse. Number 26. The Charge of the Light Brigade. During the Crimean War in 1854, British cavalry received garbled orders. They charged directly at Russian artillery, down an open valley with guns on 3 sides. Officers questioned the order. They were told to follow it anyway. 670 cavalrymen charged into certain death. The result? 1 to 10 killed, 160 wounded, 375 horses dead in 20 minutes. They accomplished nothing except proving that following stupid orders gets people killed. The poetry? Tennyson made it sound heroic. It wasn't. It was a massacre caused by miscommunication. Number 27. The Hubble telescope's blurry mirror. In 1990, NASA launched the $1.5 billion Hubble Space Telescope. It was going to revolutionize astronomy. First images came back, blurry. The mirror was ground incorrectly, off by 1/50th the width of a human hair. But in space, that's enough to ruin everything. The problem? A measuring device was assembled wrong. One technician made one mistake. NASA didn't double-check. The fix? A $100 million repair mission 3 years later. Hubble now works, but it was an expensive lesson in quality control. Number 28. Genghis Khan's Envoy Massacre. In 1218, Genghis Khan sent a trade caravan to the Khwarezmian Empire. The governor accused them of spying and executed all 500 people. Khan sent 3 ambassadors to demand justice. The Shah killed one and shaved the others, a grave insult. The response? Khan invaded with 200,000 soldiers. He destroyed every city. The Khwarezmian Empire ceased to exist. Millions died. The lesson? Don't murder Genghis Khan's ambassadors. Actually, just don't mess with Genghis Khan at all. Number 29. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge. In 1940, Washington built a suspension bridge nicknamed Galloping Gertie because it swayed in the wind. Engineers ignored warnings that the design was unstable. 4 months after opening, 40-mph winds hit. The bridge twisted violently for hours, then collapsed spectacularly. Nobody died. 1 dog did. But the entire bridge, which cost $6.4 million, crashed into Puget Sound. It's now the most famous engineering failure in history. The legacy? Every engineering student studies this disaster, and there's dramatic footage of the collapse. Number 30. Emperor Commodus, fighting as a gladiator, Roman emperor. Commodus thought he was Hercules reincarnated, so he fought in the arena as a gladiator while still being emperor. He fought disabled opponents and animals. His victories were staged. Meanwhile, the empire crumbled because he spent all his time playing dress-up. The end? His advisors had him strangled in his bath in 192 AD. The Senate damned his memory. The insanity? The most powerful man on earth wanted to be a gladiator so badly, he neglected ruling an empire. Number 31. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the driver's role. We mentioned the assassination earlier, but here's what makes it truly absurd. Franz Ferdinand survived the first assassination attempt, a bomb. His driver then took a wrong turn onto the exact street where Gavrilo Princip happened to be standing. The driver realized the mistake and stopped to reverse, right in front of Princip. The car stalled. Princip stepped forward and fired. The insanity? If the driver hadn't taken a wrong turn, WWI might never have happened. One navigation error killed 17 million people. Number 32. Tesla's torn-up contract. In the 1880s, George Westinghouse owed Nikola Tesla $12 million in royalties for AC power patents. But Westinghouse was going bankrupt. He asked Tesla to tear up the contract. Tesla could have demanded payment and owned the company. Instead, Tesla ripped up the contract and walked away. The result? Westinghouse became one of the world's richest companies. Tesla died penniless in a hotel room in 1943. The tragedy? Tesla's generosity cost him his fortune. His technology powers the modern world, but he never saw a dime. Number 33. The Byzantine Empire's Fourth Crusade. In 1204, the Pope called a crusade to reclaim Jerusalem from Muslims. The Crusaders needed ships, so they went to Venice. Venice said, "We'll give you ships if you conquer Constantinople for us first." Constantinople was Christian and supposed to be on the same side. The Crusaders agreed. They sacked Constantinople, destroyed the Byzantine Empire, and never made it to Jerusalem. The irony? A crusade to save Christianity destroyed Christianity's greatest city. Number 34. King Xerxes whipping the ocean. In 480 BC, Persian King Xerxes built a bridge of boats across the Hellespont Strait to invade Greece. A storm destroyed it. Xerxes was furious. He ordered his soldiers to whip the ocean 300 times and throw chains into it as punishment. Did it work? Shockingly, no. They rebuilt the bridge, but Xerxes' invasion failed anyway. The absurdity? A king ordered the ocean whipped. The ocean didn't care. History remembered him as insane. Number 35. The tulip mania crash. In 1637, tulip bulbs in the Netherlands became insanely valuable. A single bulb could cost as much as a house. People mortgaged everything to buy tulips, expecting prices to keep rising forever. Then one day, buyers stopped buying. The market collapsed overnight. Fortunes evaporated. People who'd traded houses for flowers were left with flowers. The lesson? It's the world's first recorded economic bubble, and people still haven't learned. Number 36. The fall of Constantinople to a forgotten gate. In 1453, Ottoman forces besieged Constantinople. The city had walls 40 feet thick, impenetrable for 1,000 years. During the final assault, someone forgot to lock the Kirkaporta gate. Ottoman soldiers found it open and poured inside. The Byzantine Empire fell because someone forgot to lock a door. 1,000 years of history ended with an unlocked gate. The moral? The greatest empire in the world fell because of one person's mistake. One unlocked gate. From wrong turns that started world wars to unlocked gates that ended empires, history proves that humanity's greatest enemy is human error. These weren't acts of God or natural disasters. These were people making catastrophically bad decisions. Which mistake shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. And remember, the next time you think you've made a big mistake, just be grateful you didn't accidentally start World War I, electrocute an elephant, or whip an ocean. The bar is surprisingly low. Some mistakes cost lives, others changed history forever. Which one shocked you most? Comment below, take a side, and smash that like and subscribe for more brutally weird history.